If I were 18 years old and I was trying to get good with my money, this is exactly what I would do to set myself up for financial success. Hey friends, it's Reni. Hope you're doing well and thank you for watching this video. Today we're gonna have a little bit of a heart-to-heart and I'm gonna tell you what I would do if I could go back in time to when I was 18 with my very first paycheck and tell you exactly what I would do with my money. This video is for my younger self or just anyone who's starting out on their money journey. And I'm not sharing this because I actually made all of these mistakes. I would say that I was very blessed and lucky. I had guidance. I had my dad. He sat me down and said,
Reni, you need to open a TFSA. You need to start building your credit, and no, a debit card won't do that.
He even helped me apply for my first credit card. He taught me to pay it off in full, and he even encouraged me to start investing when I turned 18, even though I wasn't making much. And that advice he gave me, it literally changed my entire life. But I do realize that a lot of people never got that talk. Maybe their parents didn't know, maybe no one taught them. And the school system, as we know, is definitely not teaching that. So if no one ever gave you that kind of guidance, let me be the one to give it to you now. Step 1, open the right accounts. The first thing that I would do is open 3 different accounts. 1, a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account. 2, a HISA, which is a high interest savings account. And 3, a no-fee checking account. Why? Because those bank fees and those missed investment years really do add up fast. So in your TFSA, your money grows tax-free. I do have detailed videos on this if you want to watch them. In your high interest savings account, you're actually going to earn good interest. Imagine you earn like 2.5% interest on your money versus 0.5%. That can make a big difference over the long run. And lastly, that no-fee checking account. I am not paying anybody $10 a month just to access my own money, and I suggest that you also do not do that. Step 2 would be to learn how to budget without guilt. So when I was 18, I used to think budgeting meant that you're cutting out all the fun. I'm sure a lot of you have misconceptions about budgeting where it's like, it seems like this boring thing and it kind of seems like a punishment. But real budgeting that I've learned now is about intention. Instead of wondering where your money went every month, you instead get to tell your money where it goes, which I think is great. I am big on value-based spending, traveling, going around the world, but I need to know where my money is going in order to do all of that without going broke. So here's a simple split that I would start with if you were starting right now. 50% of your money should be for needs, 30% of your money should be for wants, and then 20% is for saving and investing. I highly recommend that even if you are only earning a little bit right now, track what is coming into your account and what's going out of your account. Because this habit alone, honestly, it puts you above and ahead of like 90% of adults. So by the time that you're actually making good money, you will be a pro with your money. Step 3 is to avoid debt traps. I know there's this common misconception that credit cards are evil, but they are not evil, they're just tools. But they're only tools if you know how to use them correctly. When I was 18, a lot of my friends were getting into a lot of credit card debt and it put them behind everybody else, to be honest. It really holds you back. But if I was 18, this is what I would do. First, I would get a student credit card. Then I would put one bill on that credit card, for example, your Netflix or your phone bill, and then I would pay that bill off in full every single month. If you follow those steps, you'll actually be able to build good credit. Also, I would stay far away from things like buy now, pay later, unless it was absolutely necessary. For example, Affirm, Afterpay, all those things. It basically tells you that you cannot afford it now and there's absolutely no need for you to buy it if you cannot afford it right now. If you follow these steps, you'll be able to build good credit early, which will give you a lot of options later. For example, if you're trying to buy your first house, rent a place, or even buy your first car, you will think past you for making good decisions. Step 4, and I think this is one of the most important ones, is that I would start investing in the stock market early. So this one is huge. I think a lot of people believe you need a lot of money to start investing in the stock market, but you really don't. I started investing in the stock market when I was 18, and by the time I was 23, I had $60,000 invested, which is amazing. So let's say right now, you've done your budgeting and you can see that you have $50 extra a month that you can invest. Take that $50, start now, and invest in something simple like a low-cost ETF. An example of this would be VFV, and I have lots of videos on this if you want to learn a bit more about how you do that. I would just do that every single month and just let it ride. In about 45 years, guess what? That $50 per month will actually turn into $241,000. And guess what? You would have only contributed $27,000 of your own money towards that. That is the power of investing and the power of compound growth. And to be honest, it's very hard to save $240,000, but you can invest that money. And it's better to start earlier because you have time for your money to grow. Also, a caveat with this is that as your income increases, the amount that you put into your investment should also increase as well. Again, you can't achieve these things by saving, or you can, it'll just take you a very long time. But if you have goals to retire early or buy a house or anything, start investing as early as possible. $50 a month will go a long way for you in the long run. Step 5, I would stack skills and not just stack paychecks. So if I were 18 again, I would focus less on getting the perfect job and focus more on building my skills. So skills that actually make you money. Digital marketing, content creation, copywriting, coding, sales, public speaking. These are all things that can help you make a lot of money. These skills will open doors for you and they let you pivot, because the truth is most people don't really stick to one career anymore. You know, you start as one thing, you go to another thing, but the skills that you have will stay with you throughout any career path that you do choose. So it's important to build skills and not just hone in on just focusing on one career path. Optimize for the money. For a lot of us in high school, we have chosen what we're going to do for the rest of our lives, which is interesting. And we're only like 16, 17, we're making these decisions. So I don't think it's actually the right thing to do. But I want to encourage you to know that even if you pick something, you are able to pivot and change at any time that you want. And don't feel like you're stuck in the decisions that you made 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. You can always change and go down a different path. I think a lot of people also chose their degrees based on passion, but remember, passion doesn't really pay the bills. So if you can find something that you're passionate about and also pays well, that is amazing. But it is easier to achieve all your financial goals when you are making more money. So I always encourage people to optimize for the money. The last step is that I think you should make decisions based on where you are headed. So I know you're a student right now, maybe, but don't just think like a student. Think like a future homeowner, an investor, or a CEO, because the moves that you make right now, they actually compound over time. Your financial decisions, your emotional decisions, your professional decisions, they all compound over time. So if you have a clear vision of where you want to go, it's a lot easier to say yes or no to decisions that will not get you there. And I would say that your vision is basically based on what you are around and who you are around and what you can see. I always say that you can always dream as far as you can see, and I think that's really true. For example, if everyone around you is a business owner, you're more likely to pursue that path and see it as a viable path for you. But if everyone around you is making minimum wage, you also may think that is as far as you can dream. So I encourage you to surround yourself with people who are going where you want to go. Ask them questions, take risks, fail fast, and then try again. I would say mentorship is the key to all of this as well. So those are my tips. When I was 18, my dad and my mom gave me the financial head start that a lot of people never get. And again, now I just want to pass that same energy to all of you. So if you're 18, you're 28, or even 38 or 48, and no one ever taught you how to manage money, that is what I am here for. So I encourage you all, if you take one thing from this, I want you to start today. Start even if it's messy, even if it's just $25 a month, because the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time to start is now. So if this video did help you, send it to someone younger than you who may need to hear this message. It's never too late to start, but you have to make that conscious decision and effort to start and get better for yourself. So let me know what you learned from this video. What is one thing you'll actually be implementing? And let me know one piece of financial advice that you wish that you got when you were 18 years old. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.